DS404 355.
In case you're wondering, that pinion shim is about 30 to 35 thousandths. Bryan just knows that that's going to be around it from years of doing this over and over again.
Tightening that up with a 3/4 impact is just temporary. We're going to hit it with a 1-inch impact and we'll get our final settings done. I always start on this side, small bearing side. Pick it up. Pick it up and push it over as far as you can. Hold the race and put your bearing adjuster in. Back it off so you got a little room to move it over. Bearing race on. Then I run it over. So it won't turn. The ring gear will not turn. And I know I'm at 0 backlash there. So I can put my caps on, start adjusting my backlash. A lot of people don't oil them. I've just always found it just makes it work a little better for me. Make sure your caps snap down on there good and tight. Make sure there's no gap. Make sure they're not rocking. If they're rocking, you got the adjuster in sideways. Just a little snug. And remember, you always want to run my adjuster in till I lock the ring gear down, and make sure you've got your hole open for your cotter pin. Once you got it there, you come over here and put your preload that you want on your bearing. Alright, so now it's going to turn, but it's going to be very snug. Now we're going to back it off. I found I back them off 3, tighten down 3, and check my backlash there. And by 3, I mean 3 slots. You can put the cotter pin back in. You're looking right down through here, and you can see the open spot. So, looking for the open spot. That's 2. I'm gonna get one more. Right there. Always just tap everything. You ain't got to knock the fire out of it. Tap it with a hammer, seat everything in. And what I'll do now is I'll tighten this down with a 1/2 inch impact, then check my backlash. If you check your backlash now and tighten it down, sometimes it will change. Grab your dial indicator. Set it in a way that you're catching the edge of the tooth. Take a pry bar and I'll go up under the pinion and just pull up just enough to lock the pinion down. And what I'm looking for is 15 thousandths backlash. We're sitting on 0. And we're about 14, 13 and a half, 14. If it'll measure that, I always measure in 2 to 3 spots. Sometimes you can get the warped cases. That's about it. Can't hold it still. Dead on 15 right there. So we'll check it one more spot. Let it move on me. That's dead on 15. It moved a little bit on me. All right, well, we're happy with that. Now we're going to check our pattern. I use Persian blue and same stuff I use when I do valve jobs to check the valve seats. It takes just a tiny little bit of this. And yes, this is a used gear set. So you don't, shouldn't really matter. You should be able to still get a good pattern. What I do is I run it through, hold my hand on the pinion drive gear, put a little pressure on it, run it back and forth. Now you can see, this is the trailing side of the gear. If you can, I don't know that you can see it real well, but it's hitting here, it's pulling all the way up to here. So you're pulling a good 1/2 to 3/4, probably a good 3/4 tooth. This is your pulling side. So you're looking exactly where you want to look right here. It's all the way in and pulling up the tooth. So happy with that. So we'll go ahead and lock this down, put our cotter pins in. There's no rhyme and reason to this. It's just whichever way you prefer to install them. back in here and see what a cotter pin is here. I'll just take a center punch. Just spread that cotter pin just a little bit. Loosen it up. Done with the 3/4 impact. We're gonna go with the 1 inch now. Nut and all's clean. We're gonna put us just a little bit of Loctite. On here. I'll put a little bit on a nut as well. All right, this is the fun part. Put 1 inch on there. Line up your slot for your roll pin, and I think we'll go a little bit more. Tiny bit more. All right. Always just hit down on it like that. Makes no difference whether you do or don't. It shouldn't go anywhere. All right. Now we're ready for some power divider parts. You can see we got new races, new O-rings in the housing. Got our new power divider parts here. We're gonna always oil this bearing and oil the bottom of that through shaft just a little bit because it's going on those new O-rings. You don't want to damage those. A lot of times every time I put one together, I'll put me a little grease right in here because when this truck starts moving, it'll be a minute or two before you actually get any oil up in here on this shaft and all. That's just to help it be lubricated for a minute until it picks the oil up. Same here. I'll take this, put me a little oil. It's got washers, thrust washers that run behind these spider gears. Put a little oil on them just to keep them from being dry. Put your clutch collar on. Teeth go away from the bearing. When you lock your power divider in, this is what's actually locking. This collar slips down and engages this gear and makes a straight pull through your power divider with no slip. Okay, gotta put our snap ring on. And don't get excited if you take yours apart and it doesn't have a snap ring. I see it quite often. I personally like to put the snap ring back on, but evidently it doesn't have to have it because I see them without them quite often. When I get ready to put this in the housing, I just put my new fork right here, my spring. I just hold the spring and the fork up, grab the input shaft, line it up. Drop your fork in the hole and make sure you're all the way down. I put in this end right here. You don't have to. You can put a little oil on that if you wanted to, but it's more important to have a little oil down here. Just to, and what you can do is just squirt a little bit on the spring, and it'll find its way. It'll wind down to it. So now we're just going to silicone with the cover. And it don't take a great amount of this stuff. Just get you a good coating. They make these covers in a 9-bolt and a 12-bolt. This is 9-bolt, and they are, or I shouldn't say are, they will leak. Right around here, there's not a lot of strength right in there. So I just put a little extra silicone up in here. Okay, we got our silicone on and ready to install the top cover. Just line your dowel pins up and tap it very lightly, because you can bust that cover. And on the bolts, you'll notice the bolts that came off yours have a flat washer on them. I don't know that it makes a difference. It makes me feel better. I'll put lock washers back in place on them. I just feel like a lock washer will hold better than a flat washer. That's on there. You can go ahead. I've done this off camera. You won't see it. But that's your piston for your fork. I put a new O-ring here and a new O-ring where it seals up. On this, I just run just a little bit of oil around the housing. Put a little bit of oil on the O-ring. You don't want to cut it or damage it going in. The square part goes up. Just snap it in. Put nothing on this O-ring. This ain't got to be as snug as everybody wants to get them. Run it down till it touches. And excuse my pliers, but that's what I use. You just want to get it just snug enough that when you put your air fitting in, it won't turn. All right. Now, there's a million different ways for people to shim a power divider. This is my way. I put the cover on, and I use my shims like a feeler gauge to see what I need. This one looks like it's going to need about 15 thousandths, but let me grab a couple. That's 15 thousandths. I feel like it's still gonna Still gonna need a little more. Don't have the right amount of drag, so I'm gonna add a 3 to that, and I think we're gonna be dead on the money. This is a 3,000. We could get it under, but it would have to force it under there, so I think we're gonna be good right there. You don't have to use line-up bolts, but I do, just to keep my shims straight and keep from damaging them. And I'll just put 4 bolts in there to hold it, just to test purposes. And what I do is take me a rag and put it between my ring gear and pinion, wind up till it locks it down. Once we get it like that and get it locked down with the rag, we put the yoke on here. It ain't got to go all the way down on there, just enough to turn it. And you see how, I don't know if you can hear it or not, but if you notice the ring gear is not turning, all you're doing is turning the power divider parts. That's slipping through good, but it's a little bit tight for me. I'd like to add another 3,000ths to it, and it'll be exactly where I want it. Add 3 more thousandths to it. A lot of people will see a seal leaking and they'll just have a seal replaced. 9 times out of 10 there's a reason why that seal's leaking, and it usually has play right here on the input shaft. So you can put another one on it and it'll leak. See how free that is? It's free. We have no play, no up and down, no in and out. So now the next thing we're gonna do, we're gonna put that on there. We're gonna put air on this to make sure our power divider is locking in. We just have just a regular old brass fitting with a put the air line straight to it. You'll listen, you'll hear it click. It's locked in now. You're turning the ring gear as well as the power divider is locked in one solid piece. Just pulling the ring gear. Don't forget to get your rag out. We know that's working. Take it back out. All right, now we're gonna remove this one more time. The gaskets should seal. The shims are the gaskets. It should seal, but I always put me just a little bit of red jelly around it. Just remove your shim pad with one piece. Lay it aside. Take your red jelly. And it don't take a lot of this. I always put just a little bit of grease on the spring of the seal. I've seen them, when you put the yoke on, knock the spring off and the seal instantly start leaking. So just another insurance that you can do. Drive it down, I always go back with a little flat pump. Just tap it. We know it's down, but put a new nut on it. And that's it. Thank you for watching. If y'all like what you see, subscribe. We're putting these videos out there to help anybody and everybody that wants to learn. Thank you.